Welcome, people. Welcome to the Good Vibes Only podcast. This is our second episode. We had plans, we had people coming in, but I'm using a different software today, and the thing that makes sense. So, if anyone understands how Riverside podcast, the podcast app works, that'd be fantastic, and your help will be massive. So it's just me today. I'm just going to sit and I guess we'll just call these solo ones kind of mental Mondays. I guess we'll just sit and check in and talk about how, um, I guess how I'm doing, because I don't really, I've spent the whole plan of this whole podcast is about getting to know other people and learning about other people, I guess. So I'm just going to hold my microphone. Um, so I guess that at some point people have to figure out who I am as well. So, um, yeah, so I guess I'm Shak. I'm from Oxford. Um, I'm a freelancer. I've kind of changed my opinion on how I label myself nowadays. I feel like when you label yourself with one thing, I think it kind of can confine you. Um, so that's one thing that's been on my mind a lot recently. Just trying to avoid that kind of pigeonholing yourself. People have so many different talents and they can offer so much to the world. And I think who are we to kind of deny like the absolute majority of ourselves to the world, you know? Oh, look, my guest now, Alize, she'll be coming in the next few weeks. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it right. Just messaging me now, bless her. She's been waiting on me. Um, yeah, but let me text her back actually. And well, she can watch this back as well. You're coming back. We're definitely going to have this session soon. I really want to talk to you about what you do. Um, yeah, look, sorry about that. She's apologising. It's actually my fault. So that just shows you the kind of lady she is. Bless her. No worries at all. It's on me. Wait, you have to do good grammar. I'm big on grammar. Then that's really big on grammar. I'm like, you have to make sure you have like a semicolon. And I guess, I don't know. Not everyone's as intellectual as certain people, you have to just let them know. No, I think I don't know. I think when you're talking with people via text, I think sometimes it's lazy to kind of half-ass the conversation. Like I like to make sure that if I'm talking to someone that I care about, I'm really giving them the attention, and the attention to detail matters as well. Um, Not to say I'm a super square, super square. Not to say I'm a super square. I don't know what that is, but yeah. No worries at all. It's on me. We'll sort this out for another time. Smiley faces. See, I'm big on emojis. I feel like emojis are important because text can be so frequently misinterpreted. Like that's where like grammar can go a bit left. You ever have a conversation with someone like one thing that you don't do in text is leave full stops because apparently a full stop means hatred. Um, you could be saying anything. You could be saying anything. Oh, hope you had a great birthday. Thank you. Full stop. That means they hate you. That's hatred. Um, but yeah. So what should I talk about? I guess now this I'm kind of freestyling now because I hadn't planned to have these kind of conversations or anything like this for a while. Um, I'm definitely holding on to my mic. I don't need to, but it's just more of an ego thing, I guess. Um, what's a good conversation? Let's talk, I guess, about. Hmm. I don't know you lot yet, so I don't feel like I'm ready to open up with anyone. So I'm just gonna just keep talking about like frivolous things, like the plans that we have for 2023. It's not so frivolous. I guess that's kind of very frivolous to a certain extent. Let's start with the announcements now. Then I guess okay. This is very unstructured today. Cut me some slack. It wasn't meant to be like this. So yeah, so announcements. Let's have a look. I have to check my phone for announcements at all times because I have the memory of a lamppost. So okay, so let's look announcements. Um, well, firstly, everyone make sure that you're liking and subscribing on YouTube. If you're a YouTube listener, make sure you're liking the podcast on Spotify. I don't know how we're doing on Spotify. We're doing all right on YouTube. But you know, it was the first episode was a very long episode, so I know what people are like when they're trying things for the first time. They don't know how to approach it right. So yeah, I get that. That's fine. But yeah, even though that being said, go and watch the first episode. It's a really good episode. It's really funny. It's a really nice conversation with some really cool people. Yeah. So that's that. Like and subscribe, click the notification bell and all that other beautiful stuff. Make sure you're donating to our Cash App. That's gV0. That's spelled little g, lowercase g, capital V, the number 0. Entertainment. How you spell entertainment? If you don't know how to spell entertainment, go get yourself an Oxford Dictionary. UK, gV0 Entertainment UK. That's our Cash App. It'll be in the link in the description below. What else do I have to tell you? I have to tell you about our Instagram. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. That's gvo.entertainment_UK. I think I got it wrong last time. Oops. That's where you can get all our merchandise. We've got t-shirts, we've got bum bags, we've got hats, we've got bottles, we've got phone cases like this phone case here. This is our original phone case. We've got one that's like got this image but expanded. We've got our second logo, which is more of a music logo. Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on at gV0, man. Please make sure also at the same time that you're streaming our new album, Sessions After Work by Elso and Shak Mancel James. That is the gV0 and Track Out joint project. Everything's produced by Elso, my friend Kwan from the first episode. And yeah, it's a really good album. We're doing a performance soon in the next few days. I think by the time I get this out, the performance will have been done. But listen, first of many. Yeah, what else? Is that it? I think that's everything I've got to say announcement wise. Yeah, so I guess let's talk about gV0 Entertainment UK and what I guess the premise of the whole thing is. So basically, I've said in the episode before, I'm going to keep saying stuff and making references to the episode before, so you guys have to go back and watch it. By the way, like I'm calculated like that, apparently. So the first episode, I was detailing what I want the end goal idea of gV0 Entertainment to be, and that's a creative hub, not dissimilar to the likes of a BBC. The likes of for YouTube terms, you've got like Foot Asylum, JD, Wall of Comedy, these kind of mediums. So I really want it to be a space where not only I'm being creative, but I've got people around me that are given the platform to be creative and show their talents. Just the other day, I was talking to two friends of mine about starting their own show on the channel. Yeah, and my whole thing is that as much as I do want to captain the ship, it's important for me to bring people around me. Someone who's like a perfect example of the kind of person that inspires me, and the kind of person that has these kind of similar kind of ideals and mindsets as me is Alize, who's going to be here in one of the next few episodes for sure. So yeah, it's that would have been probably the main basis of this conversation today, and just talking about how we as I don't like the word community because I struggle with the idea that we're a community but we don't own anything. But like the black culture, the black British culture, just the black culture in general, to be honest, black and living in the UK, that culture, where we can find the time to come together and create something as a unit, the same way that other communities and cultures do. I think we spent so much time being conditioned to stay apart from each other and to always look sideways at one another and separate each other to the most minute degree. We end up looking at each other in terms of like how dark or how light brown we are and things like that. As much as I feel like the world is set up to, it's to set up in a way that we are told you have to find where you fit in, and you have to, once you find where you fit in, you can only roll with who you roll with, and only to mess with like-minded people. And then that idea has been perpetuated and expanded in social media, where you belong it to so many different categories and subcategories that you don't actually really know where you belong, and at the same time you don't really belong anywhere. So I guess my thing is just trying to bring people together, really. um that is, and as someone who I, I guess I subscribe and I belong to Black culture, that does mean Black people. But I think my overriding thing is working class people in general. I'm really big on helping out people who come from less than, and trying to show them a new way of thinking, a new way of operating, a way that people don't really want you to see, things you don't want, that people don't want you to learn. Because if you learn these things and you start thinking for yourself, and you don't listen to what's being shown on the media, through the news, through apps like Twitter, if you were more aware of everything that's going on in the world as opposed to what you're shown, I think we'd all find out that we have a lot more similarities than we do differences. And that would be a problem for the powers that be. Um, yeah, that was a nice little tangent on my philosophy of life. Um, I guess it's just like I'm not into show business. I'm not into like music business. It's all like Kendrick Lamar says. I've been in the human business. It's about people and bringing people together and teaching each other and learning from each other. That is kind of the premise of not only the company gV0 Entertainment, but also the lifestyle and the movement I'm trying to create around this product, this good vibes only lifestyle, where it's just about judging the person based on their actions, not based on any outward ideas or prejudged opinions. Just really getting to know someone at their core. This is a mindset that definitely took me a while to kind of figure out myself. I guess a good story. Okay, story time. I guess to kind of show like how, like, I guess even though I'm trying to live a certain way, there's still prejudices and thoughts in my mind that hold me back sometimes, and things that I want to work on, and I'm trying to actively work on. So the other day, there was a house party in an undisclosed location. It was a friend of mine's birthday. It was a friend from back home. We got a network, like a small network of friends from back home, that we used to do like amateur theatre and stuff together at a young age. So everyone that's kind of moved on and kind of still stayed in and around that, and stayed in and around that kind of medium until at least, I guess, 21. We're kind of still close, to a certain extent. We don't hang out all the time, and I think a lot of people have changed. But I had a mindset of, I felt like I had nothing in common with anyone, and I didn't know how I was going to fit back into this group, because it's been so long and everyone's grown up. We're not the same people we were when we were 15, 14, 13. So yeah, I had this kind of apprehension going into it, and one of our friends now is a police officer, and I guess as a black man and as someone who's lived a black experience, there was a level of apprehension seeing him. I live a certain way. I do certain things that when I'm in the space, when I'm in my own space, which I was at that certain event, I feel a lot of resistance towards feeling like I have to compromise myself in my own space, basically. And for my initial thought when seeing him was like, oh God, now I'm gonna have to move a certain way, and I complained about it to one of my friends in private. Um, and then as the night went on, I was doing my own thing, whatever, but I was kind of kept an eye over in the direction of my friend Chris, um, and I don't know. I don't think he felt out of place, but I felt a feeling that that his energy didn't feel comfortable in the space, and I realized that actually what was making that space awkward is that that both of us weren't really sure how to approach each other, despite the fact we'd known each other since I've known Chris since I think since I was 16 maybe. But just because we've taken two different stances in life or made different choices in life, we've ended up over here. I've ended up over there. There was this kind of weird elephant in the room. Of course, there's conversations of police in within black communities. There's kind of an elephant in the room, I guess, in that space. Though there really shouldn't be. So I kind of just like was observing the situation, and I felt to myself that like this is not. I can't preach about just understanding each other if I can't even be bothered to try and understand someone that is a friend or at least was a friend when we were younger. And I just kind of decided to not to ignore differences, but just to talk to him on a level of just trying to understand him now and see what kind of person he'd become. And I was asking him about what it's like to be a policeman, and not in the way that I wanted to hear all these gruesome tales, but actually wanted to understand how he viewed the world now from that perspective. It's a very specific lived experience. And I'm definitely going to have him on the show one day. We had a conversation about it by the end of the night. We had a really good talk, and but I think we could have a really interesting conversation. Yeah. So that was this is my kind of my thing now, is that I think we spend so much time looking at what divides us and spending so much time trying to be right that we're not spending enough time trying to understand other people. I think we spend so much time going, please, someone get me. People need to get me. Everyone needs to understand me. When actually the truth of the matter is, no, we need to make an effort within ourselves to start understanding everybody. And once we start having these conversations and these uncomfortable conversations where we don't agree on everything with each other, and we can learn to agree to disagree, and we can have a discourse in a healthy, safe environment. That's the only way we're gonna get some sort of understanding with each other. And an understanding doesn't have to mean that everyone's on the same page. An understanding just means that there's a respect level there, and people should be able to coexist without everyone being on board with every idea. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. So that's the whole vibe with gV0. That doesn't mean that I'm a complete like almost Buddhist like keep the peace kind of person. I'm a human. I'm flawed. I'm not perfect. But it's more just an idea of trying to be better than you were. Actively trying to get to know and understand people that I may have not have encountered in my life before, or experiences that I may not have encountered in my life before, and having difficult conversations, but in a way that's healthy and can lead to further development within not just myself but within other people, um yeah, and so that's one side of what this whole kind of idea of at least the mindset of GVO, and also the thought process behind the Good Vibes Only podcast. It's very much that. It's a lot of, I just want to learn as much as possible about as many things as possible, whatever interests me. And hopefully along the way, you guys will find something that interests you as well. It's not always going to be super serious conversations. I really want to, I'm a person who likes to have fun. I like to have a laugh with my friends. So I'm definitely going to bring in some people that are going to probably bring a bit more comedy than super serious. I think because I'm quite a mellow person in my space. It's sometimes I'm trying to work on bringing that kind of more outgoing side out of me. I think it might be a case of a different kind of show, some different kinds of platforms and formats that we can do. Like I have lots of ideas right now that we're talking about. I don't want to say anything, and then it's done, and then everyone's waiting on this one thing. I get on my nerves. So that's just generally the idea. But we're really looking into doing some really interesting things. The next few conversations I'm lining up are going to be really interesting. Obviously, we've got Alize coming in. In the process, talking to artists about their EP, see what they have to say, see if they want to come and talk. I've got hopefully a football coach that will come in and talk about what he does, and how he got to where he is now. And I do want to dabble a bit in the theatre side and talk to some younger performers, in the sense of not bringing no kids in here. Don't worry, no kids coming in here to hear me blood clot and ras clot. That's not happening. I mean, people who are adults now that used to be young performers. That's something that I was. I've got loads of friends who were young performers in the West End and tours and stuff that have gone on to carry on doing it. I think everyone has a very different. I think a lot of guys have a lot of different lived experiences. I definitely want to have a conversation about the theatre industry as a whole. I think that's something to be done a bit further down the line. I think that's going to be that might be a bit of a mad episode, to be honest, if I'm still feeling the way I feel about it now. But yeah, I guess that's just generally the idea going forward. One thing I would really love is the input of those that are watching. I'd really want to know what kind of conversations you'd want us to have on the show, or just kind of conversations you'd want to see happen on the channel in general. Because there are certain things I want to do. So like I'll spitball an idea. I do want to have a show where we have just a bunch of professionals in different fields or whatever, and just talk about tax, how to deal with tax, talk about creating limited companies, talk about freelancing, but like the ins and like the very like into detail stuff that's probably more for people who are self-employed now, trying to figure out how to get it done. So the Good Vibes Only podcast, a lot of this will be about showing you guys some ideas of things you can do. I guess that show will kind of be like, okay, so what's the next step now? Now we're here. What do we do now? But yeah, education and entertainment. That's I guess kind of the format to. I did have a really cool phrase for it at one point, but it's gone, so it was clearly shit. Sorry if I sound a bit bummed up. I had like the worst illness. I don't know if anyone else is going through this flu shit, but it's a devil incarnate. I've never dealt with anything like this in my life. So I had it. my flatmates have it now. I think my best friend, he lives like 2 floors above in in our undisclosed location. No one knows where I live. Um, that's gonna be very annoying to hear back, but I don't even care. So yeah, so I had it. My flatmates had it. My a lot of my neighbors, some of my neighbors had it. Everyone at work had it. Um, or is having it. Honestly, probably the worst illness I've had in a very, very long time. It happened on Friday. I was in the middle of just about to start a show at my place of work, and literally the show started, and I was like, "Yeah." My body said, "No, you can't do this." I had to run downstairs. Went to my company manager. I was like, "I can't do it. I feel like I'm going to be sick." Even talking about it now, I don't know what happened there. In fact, I nearly threw it myself. Um, Yeah, and I went all the way home and left my keys at work. So, long story short, I ended up getting back home at the same time that everyone who stayed and did the job um, got home. So that was great. Freezing cold. But yeah, it was like bloody hell. Like, stomach was doing backflips, front flips, somersaults, trying to get the gold medal. My throat sounded like, I didn't even know, it sounded like one Harley Davidson. My nose was blocked up more than the Jubilee line after these bloody strokes. Just chocker blocked. I look like I look like when you get on the Jubilee line at Waterloo on a Saturday from, let's say, fucking 12 till fucking 6, just squashed, looking like a bag of tunas. My nose looked like a tuna can, stuffed, couldn't breathe. Um, Pain behind my eyes, that like migrainey thing, and then just the body temperature, like the regulation. You know when like you put the duvet on and it's too hot, you take the duvet off and it's too cold, and you're just stuck in this purgatory of hot and cold, moving like Katy Perry. That's what I was doing. It was not nice. Um, but yeah, I'm back now. The cough won't go. Um, the block nose will not go. But I've been working really hard. We're looking at the next steps. Some of the things we're looking to do in the next few weeks. We're trying to shoot this rolling video. Kwan and Elsa and I. It's been mainly planning right now. The fact of the matter is, tax is coming up next month. Um, but so we're trying to figure out the best way to do it and kind of and live within our means. Um, we decided to direct it ourselves. That's something that's quite interesting. I think my plan with this is, hopefully, if we do a good job with this video and the edit comes out good, one of my new things I want to do as a freelancer is start directing music videos for other artists. So that's something definitely that I'm looking into trying to do, or like at least have like be part of a team that will help with music videos for people. I've really enjoyed kind of just walking out, going on, finding locations recently, taking pictures of places that I like. Um, so that's something that's definitely piquing my interest right now. Just something that will get me out of bed. I think so many people suffer with procrastination. When you find something that interests you, I think you got to just try and do it. Try and just get on with it, and try and you know. Um, I think sometimes you just have to dive into things. Like I do, at least. I think if I don't dive into things, sometimes I put it off and I put it off and I put it off, and then it's not done. Like even today, like when this thing wasn't working, every part of my brain was like, "Okay, cool, I'll just go back to bed." But I kind of just thought, you know what? Let's just come in and come in here, and I'm literally just spitballing right now. I'm just kind of talking. Um, it's been quite therapeutic in a weird way. Um, just kind of get thoughts out in the open. Um, but yeah, I think maybe I'll do more of these kind of things. Mental Mondays, which has not really been about mental anything. It's just been me kind of talking and spitballing, I guess. Um, but that's at the same time, that's kind of cool. That's something that could be done. So maybe this is just a subgenre of the Good Vibes Only podcast. It's like an extra, like BBC One or BBC One extra, like that, like a capital extra, like the Good Vibes Only podcast. My diction is not too great, guys. Deal with it. Um, but yeah, I guess we hit kind of like the half hour mark. I think that might be a good place to stop. Yeah, I think that was actually that was fun. I might try and structure these a bit better next time. But I guess this has been a really good way to break down, I guess, the philosophy of gV0, and the intent and what we plan to do. If you have any suggestions of kind of shows you want to see or topics you want us to talk about, leave a comment down below. Yeah, this has been quite cool. So I'm going to sign off. My name is Shak Mancel James, and no matter what you say, it's gV0 all.